Okay, guys, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel and the Galilee on the 18th of December. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It was cool, it's warming up. What we're going to do today is discuss the drones in America and go into a deep dive with new details and new insights about Jeremiah 50:51. I'm not really shifting my doctrines. I'm just trying to fit the drone thing, what's going on in America, what's going on in Israel, and put it together to see where we're at. And I think we got some pretty good insights. This is what the Lord showed me to do this morning, so I took my time working on it, so I'm a little bit on the late side, but I think it was worth it. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy it. These lids don't want to go back on. Okay. Had some issues yesterday with the electricity in the local city or town, whatever you village. They kept going on and off. They were trying to fix it, and they were, so it messed up one of my relays where I get the signal, and it's a repeater, and I put it near the front yard so I can get the signal in the yard. And I don't know if it burned out or not. I got a service call, so they might call me, and I'll talk to them briefly if I can. If they want me to start testing it and stuff like that, I'll just tell them I'll do it later. That's all. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go into the live stream and make sure everything's working, and then put a few posts up. Go into the live. Everything's working. People seem to be coming in. Let me get a couple of posts up there, and then we'll go ahead. All right, I'll just get my email in there. Be a few seconds. All right. Be done in 4 or 5 seconds. And checking for typos. I think we're good. Okay. Being a Bible believing site, I'm going to do some praise and then we'll get started. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, the drone thing in the United States is continuing again yesterday. in several locations, you're seeing drones, military bases, and so forth. And they're popping up in southern Connecticut now. Southern Connecticut is very close to New York City. If you were going to drive in the middle of the night without the traffic, I think it's 95 is the interstate. I don't remember, but I think it's 95. You can get into Manhattan in without breaking the speed limits in perhaps 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes at most. So it's pretty close. It's not far away, okay? So why they're going up into Connecticut, I'm not sure. There might be some military stuff up in Connecticut I'm not familiar with. I don't know. They're in Jersey, they're in New York, they're in California, they're in Virginia, they're in Pennsylvania. They're all over the place. They're in Wyoming. They're all over the United States. Now, I want to show you a headline from the New York Post, but I want to pull it up on the internet so I get a good large size image of it. I put it up on my Telegram, so if I can't find it real quick, on Google, I'll just go into my get it. I might have to go into my. No, I think I got it. This is, they're giving you a statement from the House Foreign Affairs Chair. Okay. He's saying the drones are from China. And I told you that 3 days ago. Why am I saying they're from China? Well, first of all, China's modus operandi with Taiwan is at least 30, 40, 50 times in the last year or so, year and a half. The Taiwan people wake up and their island country is surrounded by anywhere from 4 or 5 Chinese warships to 19 was the high, and a lot of aircraft, military aircraft flying into their airspace. So it's, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, and they kind of get used to it. And then one day you do it, and it looks like it was all the other dozens of times, yet then there comes the attack. So that's their modus operandi, China. And that matches what's going on with the drones. They fly them from 5:30 p.m. to midnight. They turn the lights on so people can see them. So they want to make sure that people know they're there to create panic and fear and make the government look bad. And then they disappear like they do in Taiwan. Now, the curious thing, and you need to pay careful attention to this, in China, they're calling for this Xi Jinping, whatever you pronounce the head of China, the president or the prime minister, I think they call him a president, who was appointed for life a year or two ago, something like that, maybe 3 years. They're asking him to resign. They can't do a vote of no confidence because he's in there forever. So what's going on? Well, first of all, their economy stinks because he's not playing the game with the United States correctly, and the sanctions have really dug into them over the years with real estate crashes and many things. And China's avidly pursuing BRICS, getting the United States more incensed at them. And Trump's getting ready to drop 100% tariffs on countries playing the game with BRICS to remove transactions for oil, gas, food, many things away from the US dollar and the euro. And that could severely hurt China, who in turn is trying to put sanctions on America, which is fairly silly. Okay, so China has been doing nothing, okay, except provoking, and that's causing economic warfare to drop on their heads in the form of sanctions. And they're afraid that when Trump gets in, which is like a month now, something like that, roughly, he's going to drop the 100% sanctions on them and break BRICS up, and they're not being very successful. But bear in mind the anger that Trump will create with this 100% sanctions if he ever makes it to inauguration, which, listen, anything could happen. Anything under the sun could happen to Trump in the next month, right? Am I expecting that? No, but it could happen. It's been tried with him, but it hasn't happened. Okay? It hasn't happened. Is there any way constitutionally that Biden could avoid the transfer of power on January 20th? I don't think there's even anything close to that. I really don't think so. So the signs are that the transition of power would take place. Okay, and many countries are planning for that. Now, we're doing ceasefire with Hamas talks. I think Qatar is where they are. And the Hamas people are withdrawing some of their stipulations that were deal breakers in the past, like Israel troops could stay in Gaza now. And they're not dancing to Trump's music. Trump was saying he wants all the hostages back before January 20th when he's sworn in, or they'll have hell to pay. Now, he reiterated that a second time, probably about 2 days ago, maybe 3. So he's really hanging on to it. He's not reneging. Okay? So they're talking now about a certain amount of hostages and then more later. They're not talking about giving all the hostages up, but they're talking about giving up, I think, 4 that are American and Israeli passport holders. Okay? So, you know, it's a start, but when they give all the hostages back, they're left naked. They got nothing left to bargain with, and they don't want to do that. Because Israel gets the hostages back, and then, oh, you violated the ceasefire. Boom, 36,000 more soldiers come in, 300 tanks, planes are flying, dropping bombs, you know. So they don't know what to do, but they're afraid of what Trump's going to do. And we already discussed what kind of options would Trump have, and I don't know what the heck they are. I mean, what's Trump going to do? Send American troops in here to go in there and clean them out? Because if he did that, then there's nothing going to happen at the UN Security Council. He's not going to convict his own country. He's basically going to veto it. I mean, so there's no point in using the UN. I mean, look, in World War II, I don't know if you guys ever saw the films when we invaded, I think it was in France, we came in and they had bunkers they built near the coastline. They went in a few hundred yards, I think, maybe 400 or 500 yards from the actual water's edge. And they built really heavy bunkers. I mean, big, thick concrete bunkers that could sustain artillery and stuff. And they put artillery pieces inside the heavy concrete bunker, and they had machine guns in there, and they probably gave the machine gunner, well, they might have had two machine guns, I don't know, or one, and they probably gave him 5,000 or 10,000 rounds of ammo. So the guy was sitting there just spraying the Allied soldiers on the beach, and they were, trying to hit the boats with artillery that was shuttling the guys in and all kinds of stuff. And one of the ways we got around them, a lot of the guys got stuck on the beach and a lot got killed. A lot. They were going over to the bunkers, and they had explosives they could use that looked like a long pipe, and they had to get very close to it. And the other thing they did is they had flamethrowers that would probably be effective for 25 feet or so, maybe more. I'm not sure, not much more. They were probably relatively effective at 10 to 25 feet. And they would run up to the bunkers where they couldn't get shot, and they would turn the flamethrower on, and they just blast the bunker with flames, and the guys would be coming out with uniforms burning and stuff like that, and they mostly gunned them down. But that's one way, Trump could go to Gaza, but I don't think he would, but he could. I don't know and I'm not even sure Trump knows what he's going to do. The sanest way to deal with them would be to move the citizens out of where Hamas is and, make, barbed wire fence military lines to keep them from getting to Hamas, and then just kill the humanitarian aid and the water and the phones and the internet and the sewage and everything, electric, anything and everything that these terrorists could be using. You don't have to shut the main plants off, you just cut the lines going to where they are. The water lines, everything, and just wait for them to run out of stuff. And if they want to sit there, they'd probably have a large amount of food that they stole. Maybe they could go months, but how much water do they have? You see, maybe they got enough for a while, but I don't think they got enough for months. But you don't know. And just wait for them to come out. That's one way to do it. I don't know what Trump has in store. Maybe Trump doesn't either. But Hamas probably doesn't want to find out. And nobody's going to come to Hamas's aid. Who? Nobody. So they're trying to make a deal. They're trying to cut the best deal they can. And they've given up on keeping Israel from blocking the Rafah crossing, apparently. They're giving up on Israel. I got a crink in my neck from a couple of days ago. It would be good if you guys pray that my neck heals. It's been getting a lot better, but it's still there. So I don't know what Trump's going to do. It could be nothing. He's just sitting there saying it, and he's going to sit down with people and say, what the heck are we going to do? One of the times that America would be the most vulnerable, okay, is, of course, right now. Of course, you're headed towards a transition in the government. But starting January 21st, or January 20th, America is very vulnerable because the Biden people, the heads of the CIA, Homeland Security, FBI, Justice, Pentagon, all this, right? are the Biden people who don't like Trump. And they're still there January 20th. It's not that they all go home. Trump has to replace them. I think that's how it works. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, it makes the situation even worse, that there's no head of all these agencies. But Trump has teams selected, ready to go. He needs Congress to approve them, which is probably going to go through, but I don't know if it's going to go through on January 22nd or the 25th or anything like that. I don't know. So there's a probability that Trump's agencies, Pentagon, CIA, NSA, Army, Marines, Air Force, are being run by Biden loyal people, or nobody, until Trump gets his people in place. So the transition government is very weak at this time, probably for a minimum of a month. So let's say the Congress quickly approves these people. The Secretary of Defense gets appointed, and they have a ceremony, a celebration. He goes to, I guess he keeps his office in Washington, D.C., and he probably has something in the Pentagon, maybe, I don't know. And then he has to appoint his assistant Secretary of Defense, which could be 6 or 8 or 10, it's quite a few of them. I had a neighbor once many years ago who had one of these jobs, but it's not a very high-powered, high-profile job, but it's a powerful job, In the bureaucracy, it's powerful. Outside the bureaucracy, nobody really knows who they are or anything like that. I mean, the Congress, but let's say the Secretary of Defense is up here and the Assistant Secretary of Defenses aren't like this. It's more like they're way down. Okay. Gopher type people. They don't make policy and decisions. They just execute the wishes of the Secretary of Defense, and they do research and stuff like that. All right. So Trump appoints Secretary of Defense. The guy has to get his own people in place now. His Assistant Secretary of Defense. He needs to get different department heads rotated around that are going to be more loyal to him. He has to revamp it. Really, this is at least 90 to 180 days, okay, to accomplish it. And the guy is completely unfamiliar. Trump's not putting a 4-star general in, okay? So the guy doesn't understand. He has no experience. He doesn't, so he has to flounder through. The same thing's going on with Homeland Security, with the FBI, with NASA, with NSA, with CIA, with Department of Education, FDA, Securities Exchange Commission, all of these people. They are first going into the position, and then they got to start, getting a secretary, getting their underlings, because these are SPOT bureaucrats. They're not highly skilled people. They never really are. They're bureaucrats. So this character has to make himself familiar as to what's going on. And these are basically stuffed shirts, okay? That's all they are. And they got to get on the program and figure out how this agency is working, how to change the direction of the agencies to meet Trump's demands, or they'll get fired. Guys, the country's going to be weak, really weak. And Biden may be timing, he's well aware of this, and Biden may be timing all these explosions to happen just before he leaves. Now, what Biden did is he picked ex-Obama people that worked under the Obama when he was president. So these people had a pretty decent idea of how things operated. Okay, Trump's not really doing that across the board at all. Not very much of that. So it's going to be very weak, and it's weak now. Biden's always been weak, but now it's very weak. So the drones are from China, but they haven't attacked. And remember, the guy that was in the New York Post even referenced what I said the other day, that, remember the balloons, that was from China too. So I'm going to go through Jeremiah 50:51 and open it up to you there in a moment or two. Yesterday we had a little bit of an interesting situation in Israel. Nobody went into panic, but everybody was concerned. Netanyahu went to a hospital in Jerusalem. I don't think he actually was a patient, and he took off. It's Hadassah Hospital, an excellent hospital. And I think Hadassah and Rothschild up around Haifa are the best hospitals. And he took off from a helicopter from Hadassah and went to get on his aircraft, Wings of Zion. And people were saying he's in Qatar, he's in Egypt, he's in Syria, I don't know where else, right? And nobody knew where he went. And for a while, it was leading to Syria, and I posted it, and then later on Telegram, I went back and said, well, nobody really knows where he went. Well, today we seem to know he went to Syria. That's interesting. Now, as I told you in the past, us grabbing land in Syria is an absolute slapshot insult to Satan, because now Israel's beginning to fulfill prophecy and start taking the land back, and that will irritate Satan big time, scare him in reality. So this is behavior likely to be reversed, although Netanyahu is saying it's just temporary. Well, I mean, you could say the West Bank is temporary too, And we took over some more villages last night, and the situation with the Druze wanting to have Israel annex the land where they live and the villages there is still up in the air. The HTS guy that's running Syria now tried to, wine and dine the Druze into staying there, but I don't know what that's going to turn into. And there's rumors that there's going to be a strike on Iraq. Not an official statement, rumors. And as you know, America, UK, and I was told Israel, but it may not have been Israel. I don't think Israel did it. Hit Yemen yesterday. I think the day before they're hitting Yemen now. The Turkish-backed rebels in Syria are fighting aggressively against the Kurds and vice versa. There's big conflict. Lots of weapons flying around, killing each other, to be clear. I saw the HTS rebels running Syria change the name of a mosque in Syria that was named Khomeini Mosque or something like that. So they're trying to get rid of all traces of the Ayatollah Shmukalova Khomeini guy. They're trying to get rid of him. His memory and everything else. Iraq is just sitting there bracing for an attack from Syria. Hezbollah is relatively inert now, hardly getting anything from them. Yemen tries to send stuff up here, it doesn't get anywhere. There's rumors now that are coming from Arab sources that America is kind of going to attack Yemen, and they're getting the Yemen National Government Army to help them. This is what the reputable Arab states are thinking. So, in other words, Yemen's being presented with a picture that is like South Lebanon, where all the houses are destroyed and it's in rubble, and Gaza is a ditto, and told that's what's going to happen in Yemen if you don't stop these idiots. Because the Yemen government's playing the same game as the Lebanon government. Well, you know, what are we going to do, you know? So now is the time, if you're going to attack Iran. Syria's defunct. It's of no value to Iran anymore. Invading Iran will not do them any good because they have no military infrastructure to build on. So they have to start from scratch, and they're very easy to pick off when they have no infrastructure to house them and hide them and protect them. So the Yemen government is basically, I imagine, I think I might being told, there's going to be a lot of destruction in your country, infrastructure, everything else, if you don't stop these idiots. So you've got an ultimatum. You do it your way. As long as it stops, we're happy. Or we're going to do it our way. And you're going to be picking up the pieces for 5 years. So will this really happen? I don't know. The Yemen army's about 67,000, and the Houthis are about 130,000. So they're 2-to-1 outnumbered, but they got better equipment, you know, in the form of tanks, personnel carriers, and things of this nature. So I don't know how this will play out, but if the Americans help them, it's going to be air support. I don't think there's going to be a ground invasion. They were saying Israel's going to do a ground invasion of Yemen. I seriously doubt they'll do that. It's too far away. And then after you invade them, the only reason you really want to invade them is to stay there and occupy them. And Yemen is way too isolated for Israel to do an occupation. So I don't see it. Will Israel attack Iraq? Yeah, it could be. I don't know why Netanyahu was in Syria. He could have been talking to the rebels about something. Could be relocating the Palestinians from Gaza into the area of Syria that we are using as a buffer zone. It could be Netanyahu wants to move tanks and troops through Syria to attack Iraq with or without America. Or I don't know what. But they're at this point, they're going to whittle down Iraq and the Houthis in Yemen. Got to watch and see. Yemen, if we hit Iraq or America hits Iraq, Yemen could likely start lashing out against Saudi Arabia easily. Jordan wouldn't be much of a problem. You know, those two, which America doesn't want to see go down. But Jeremiah 49 says it will. It says Edom or Yemen will go down too. So things are moving around. The pieces on the board are being moved rapidly. Things are very fluid. Every few hours, things look different. Not so much different, but things progress, I guess. So it's very interesting what's going on. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Let me run into the live stream and see if we've got garbage to take out. Any snide, nasty remarks or nasty titles attributing to me, I just get rid of them. I block them out. I just don't want the riffraff anymore. It's a psychological operation. I guess we're talking about the drones. In part, it is definitely a psychological a psychological operation, a psyop, because that's what they do in Taiwan. Okay, but this is a rather intense one because it's every day. And I think they're being launched by sleeper agents inside the United States. And I think the United States knows that. So let me go to Jeremiah 50:51, which is about the daughter of Babylon, which I think we all know is America. And I want to show you how very, very close we are to it right now. And it is very, very close. And that's what we're going to do. So the word that Jeremiah 50 verse 1, the word that the Lord spake against Babylon, and again, now notice in Jeremiah 49, which precedes Jeremiah 50, Edom is destroyed, Elam, which is Iran, is destroyed, Jordan, which is Ammon, and Moab is destroyed, Saudi Arabia gets it. It's a lot of stuff in there that precedes. So we could say that this is showing us sequencing, okay? We could say that. All right. The word that I can't give you a written guarantee, but it looks that way. You know, the word that Jehovah spake against Babel and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Okay. There is no Babylon in the Bible. In the Hebrew, it's Babel, which means confusion. There was the old Babel, which is roughly Iraq, and there's the new one, which is the daughter of Babel, or the daughter of Babylon, which is America. Okay. Declare you among the heathens, and publish, and the word is goyim, and publish. Now, we got to start understanding what the words mean. Publish does not mean publish. They lied. Did they lie intentionally about this? Oh, absolutely. What is the word they call publish in English? Shema. Like Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. They call it the Shema. It means hear and obey. That's what it means. Not publish. The New York Post published a statement from the chair of the House Committee, okay? That's published. Hear and obey is what this word means. So they definitely messed it up on purpose. I'm sure they know the difference. Did Strong's mess it up? Let's see. I don't remember. But the way you really can cut through a lot of the lies in the English translations is to check many, 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 many words to see what it really says, because they play with it a lot in the English. Yeah, Strong says attention, obedience. That's, you should put the two together and you get hear and obey. So Strong's doesn't really clinch it for you, but at least it gives you a clue. Declare you among the heathen nations, it would be, or the heathen, the goyim is the word, and publish and set up. So it's Shema, hear and obey, and the word for set up is nasa, lift, and then it says the standard, which is nes, which is something you pick up. So it could mean a flag, staff, or a signal. Then it has Shema, hear and obey, and conceal not, say, Babel is taken. What's the word for taken? Now you see here there's some deception too. L'chad. Let's see how Strong's uses this word in English, or how he puts it into English. To catch in a net or a trap. Okay, to catch in a net is a snare or a trap. It's a snare. So Babylon is taken would be better said snared. Jeremiah 50:24 says Jehovah put a snare on the daughter of Babylon. Okay, so this is the snare closing. Bel. Now Bel is one of the demon idol things that they worshipped in the old Babylon. See, it's the same demons running America that ran the old Babylon. Bel is confounded. Now, that word is Yabesh. It's not exactly confounded. Let's see what Strong starts with it. Ashamed and confused. Well, that's America today with the drones. Confused and ashamed. Merodach, the same as Bel, another demon idol from the old Babylon, is broken in pieces. Now, they had idols from Merodach. Now, when the Chinese or the Russians or the North Koreans or the Venezuelans or the Cubans or the Belarusians come in and invade, do they smash the idols? No. They don't pay much attention to them. Do the Muslims? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's very important to them. Very important. They do crush the idols. That's who's doing this. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. Okay? The graven images. There you go. Where would you find these? Well, you would find them in the Catholic churches, big time. You would find them in the Buddhist temples, the Hindu temples. You would find them in churchianity, as the form of the cross. For out of the north there cometh a nation against her. Now, you could say this is north of America, but then you're coming up with Canada attacking America, which would be I'd say, the theater of the absurd. I think he's saying north of Israel, because that's how the Bible's often oriented, okay? So, what's north of Israel? Well, Lebanon, Turkey, you know, you could say off to the side a little bit, Iraq. Are they saying north of Greater Israel or north of Israel, Catan, the small Israel we have now? Don't know. Let's see on a map what other possibilities we have. Turkey could be a good possibility. Elam, Iran, gets destroyed in Jeremiah 49, which precedes Jeremiah 50:51. Let me get a map and show you what things look like. If I can find a good map here. The maps in Google. Let us see. Maybe this works. So Lebanon is definitely immediately north of Israel, okay? And the bad ones in Lebanon have not been destroyed. They had about 50,000, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5,000 got killed. So they're still 95, 90% intact, say 90% intact, okay? Then you get Syria, which is still north of Israel on top of Lebanon, and they're all still in Syria. They haven't been eliminated yet. And then you get Turkey, and Iran is all the way up and over. It's not really to the north. Sorry, I can't call it as Iran. So the real players here are Lebanon, Syria, and Turkey. I'll show you the map. Now, can we expand this and see if we get any other hits? We can, but we got to be careful because we don't want to start saying England is north of Israel. You know what I mean? Somebody will say, oh, but it is, but you got to watch that. Let's see if this map's any good. No, it's rather terrible. You got to have good resolution and clarity, and you don't want to have a topographical map or stuff like that. Let's see if I can make this work. See, when you get north of Turkey, you hit the Black Sea. And I would say that when you say north, and then you don't say on the other side of the sea, you're getting out there on thin ice, and I don't like that. Can you say Ukraine is north of Israel? Let me get my orientation here. I lost it. Oh, changed maps on me. Thank you, Google. same map I had. Where did it go? This. Can I work with this? Yeah, I can work with this. Ukraine would even be northwest. It wouldn't be directly north. So Ukraine's not a fit, okay? Neither is Italy or, Romania or any of that stuff. It's France, England, not a fit. You could say Russia as well. But now we're crossing the Black Sea and we're getting pretty far away. So you could possibly stretch it and say Russia as well, because you do hit a piece of Russia. But I would say the emphasis would be Lebanon, Syria, and Turkey. Okay? Not Russia. All right? This is not Gog and Magog. This is basically Psalm 83, Zechariah 12. Oh, but also Jeremiah 50:51. Sorry, we're on Jeremiah 50:51 more than that. So it can be Russia, maybe. But the Russian troops are probably unlikely to want to go in there and break the idols. They wouldn't get too concerned about that. We wouldn't care. All right. So we could stay on that all day. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken, for out of the north there cometh a goyim, heathens, you could say a heathen nation or heathens, against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. And we'll be getting into these fine points in the next coming moments. In those days and in that time, saith Jehovah, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek Jehovah Elohim. In those days and in that time. So you're going to see the greater exodus in that time. So maybe America is part of the general greater exodus. By the way, Ireland is really finished with Israel at this point. They joined in the ICJ to prosecute Israel for genocide or something. Israel broke diplomatic relations with them. There's bad blood. Ireland may get some problems soon. So in those days, now that's not exactly saying at that time, but then it says, and in that time. All right, let's break the word down. In those, let's say, probably these. It could be these days and in that time. Hesman, what is this word here? Well, it's not operating here. What's wrong? At not, yeah, maybe you could say that. so in those days and at that time saith Jehovah, the children of Israel, that should be Yeladim. Oh, Ben, the sons of Israel shall come. Let's see. Yeah, oh, come. They and the children of Judah. So that's the lost tribes and Judah coming in the next great Exodus at the same time. So this again would make me think more that while America has its own harvest, it's probably consistent with the time of all the others coming from the other countries. Okay? And in that time, saith Jehovah, the sons of Israel shall come, they and the sons of Judah together, going. So again, the together makes us think it's happening at the same time. Going and weeping. Now, the word for weeping isn't exactly correct. It's baka. It's to weep, generally to bemoan, bewail, lamentation, mourning. So they're mourning. Why? Because the true believers and all of Israel saw the Son and the Son of Man, and they received the everlasting life. I expect the Lord poured His Spirit out on the Israelites. Like He says He does in Jerusalem and the house of David. And now they're believers and they saw Yeshua, they received everlasting life, John 6:40, and now they're mourning just like they are in Zechariah 12. So I think the timing is very close, the same. Actually, real close, like the same. And now they're mourning because they were rejecting Yeshua all these years. Now the true believers, I don't think are going to mourn. Why would they mourn for Yeshua, who rose from the dead and seated at the right hand of God the Father? I don't think they would. But the others will mourn. Okay, that's just Zechariah 12. So we should assume the timing is probably the same. Shall go and seek Jehovah Elohim. So all of a sudden now they're going to want to go seek Jehovah in Israel. So obviously the Spirit's poured out on them. They shall ask the way to Zion, Israel, with their faces thitherward, saying, now Zion means dry parched place. He doesn't say Israel. Greater Israel would be what Israel means, because he calls the land we have now Judah and Jerusalem and Zion. So when he starts calling it Israel, that's, we already hit redemption. We got the land back, the tribes, the 10 tribes are here, and so forth. And the true believers are here, which are not here now, very few are here. They shall go and seek, I'm talking true believers that are not of Israelite descent. They shall go and seek Jehovah Elohim. Well, that would make me think the glory of God of Israel is in the temple. Wouldn't it make you think that? Of course. Ezekiel 43 shows you that event. And it's mentioned in Malachi 3, the glory of God of Israel shall suddenly come to his temple. We'll have more on that. They shall ask the way to Zion. It's to the east, guys, from America. If you're up in, England, France, all that, it's kind of south, east. You'll figure it out. With their faces thitherward, saying, come and let us join ourselves to Jehovah in a perpetual covenant. That word is a brit, and perpetual means olam. is a word that means from now on into the future. It's an indefinite, projecting forward term. It's a tense that doesn't exist in English, really, from now into the future. Come and let us join ourselves to Jehovah in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten by them. God doesn't forget. Now, Israelites, when they pray, will normally turn their faces towards Jerusalem or towards Israel. But here in Israel, when we're already here, we usually don't do that. I mean, you could if there was a temple. I would say turn our face towards Jerusalem, but what do you got there now? A dome and a rock, and let us join ourselves. Let's take a look at that in Levah. I think it's an okay translation. Yeah, or unite, join. It's okay. To Jehovah in a perpetual covenant. So it's Olam Brit. A Brit is a covenant. Brit Chadashah is New Testament. So an Olam, that shall not be forgotten. My people. Well, the word here in the Hebrew is which means people. People have been, became or have been lost sheep. That's the Israelites. They're shepherds. What did Yeshua say? I'm sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Well, when he appears, he's also appearing for the benefit of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And if you're a non-Israelite descended believer in Yeshua, I don't care what color you are, what language you speak, or what country you came from, you're in Israel. So you're part of it too. And you're not living here in the land, so you're a lost sheep also. Get that down. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. To wander away from Israel. Who did that? The shepherds, bad rabbis. They have turned them away. They do that. On the mountains, they have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting places, which is redeemed Israel. That's where you'll be resting. Okay? All that found them have devoured them. And their adversary said, we offend not because they have sinned against Jehovah, the habitation of justice, even Jehovah, the hope of their fathers. So these are the Espots, the leaders of the country, saying, "Oh, we can do what we want to Israel because Jehovah's finished with them." See, they don't understand Hosea 6:1-2 that it's a 2,000-year punishment on Israel, and time's just about up. Look what happened to Gaza and Lebanon and Syria. Watch. Remove out of the midst of Babel and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were witches, soothsayers, that lived in Babylon. Like you have a bunch in America, in the government, in the big businesses running it, in the entertainment, all of them. And be as the goats before the flocks. That's he's directing the believers to be that way. The goats are more aggressive than the sheep. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babel an assembly. Let's check that. Yeah, congregation, assembly of great, that's Gadol. Yeah, we could go with great, Goyim, heathens, from the North Country. Now he's talking about a North Country. Let's check our words. North means north, and country is, no, not country. Goyim, north, well, maybe it's from land. It's not really a country meaning word. It means more like land. Let's see. Eretz. So Northland. So when you say Northland, it's not as country specific. See what I mean? So you could have Lebanon, Syria, and Turkey. I'm going to take a break for a moment, okay? When you get into this in the Hebrew, you start to see, if you've got a good grasp of prophecy, you start to see the errors, and then you start to understand what it really says in Hebrew. So when you see it in the Hebrew, it's like you're going from black and white to color with television or something, okay? I imagine some of you could still remember black and white TV. Probably a lot of you don't, but a lot of you do. Yeah. All right, I'm having myself a little snack while I do this because it's getting on, and I haven't eaten anything since the evening. Okay. Jeremiah 50, verse 8. Remove out of the midst of Babel, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, be as a he goat before the flock. So this is to leave. For I will raise and cause to come up against Babel an assembly of great heathens from the north land, and they shall set themselves in array. We could go with array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The word taken is really it's not taken. This is what Strong says. A primitive root to catch in a net, a trap, or pit. That's the snare. A snare is a trap. Okay? She shall be taken or put in the snare. They're concealing this from you. They don't want you to put the pieces together. I think, or else they just don't know how to translate. Maybe that's the case here in this verse. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Now, an arrow gets launched from a bow. A missile is very much like an arrow. It's a projectile that goes flying from a missile launcher. So I would say in the old language from thousands of years ago, this is probably how it was conveyed. What else would they call it? They didn't have the word missile. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. Now that word is an interesting word. Shalal. It has a strong connotation of plunder, booty, you know. All that plunder her shall be satisfied. The satisfied word is satiated, I think, really used. Let's see what Strong starts with it. You know, fill the satisfaction, satiated, you know. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satiated, saith Jehovah. Because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O you destroyers of my heritage. The heritage is the Israelites. because you are grown fat as the heifer at grass and bellow as bulls. That's America's rich. When Obama got in, there was a big shift of the wealth from the poor and the middle class into the wealthy class, and that's still been continuing. The shifting, I think, began when Nixon took the money off the silver standard. That's when I think the shifting started. Because then they ran amok with the money supply and everything. Before then, people used to own their houses, they'd pay them off, cars were reasonable, gas was probably, I don't know, 35, 40 cents a gallon, something like that. You know. Your mother shall be sore confounded. The mother is, allegorically the whore of Babylon, Washington, D.C., but it's really speaking of the demons, This is that unclean spirit or whatever it is that they call Columbia. That's how it's depicted. I don't think it's real, but that's how they depict it. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations. That's the most recent of the nations. God only has 70 nations, and that's America. Not according to the way the UN calls them, but according to the way God calls them. Shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. That's America. Because of the wrath of Jehovah, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Every one that goes by Babel shall be astonished and hiss. Hiss could mean whistle. Okay? Hiss at her plagues. So it could be like, oh boy, look at that. Egypt got hit with a bunch of plagues. It was destroyed pretty much. Put yourselves in array against Babel. Array. Let's check that. An arrangement, yeah. Roundabout. So she's going to get surrounded the way Zechariah 12 depicts Israel get surrounded in the siege. All you that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Jehovah. You could construe a gun to be similar to an arrow. The gun is the bow and the bullet is the arrow. The projectile launched, Shout against her round about. Now this is very curious. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Okay, the word foundations needs to be looked at. think it means the fortifications or forts. That's what I'm getting at with this. It's not the foundations of the building. I don't think that has a lot of relevance to the meaning of the phrase. And her walls are thrown down. The only walls I really know about are the Mexico border walls with America, unless they're talking about walls around the White House, because it says she hath given her hand. She hath given her hand means it's surrendering. So what I believe is, yes, the snare on America came from Obama Biden. He opened the borders up, let people flood in. Even Trump said could be 30 million. Retired Border Patrol guy, a high-ranking official from Texas, said could be 50 million. They wanted to change the face of America. Okay. So I think when this happens, they plan on surrendering to these attackers that are likely from Muslim because of the destroying the idols, which the Russian troops and Chinese troops and North Korean troops, they wouldn't care about this. It wouldn't be important enough to them. They got idols in their own country. China has a gazillion Buddhist temples where people go and submit offerings. North Korea is just staunch communist. I don't think they have temples in North Korea. I'm not positive. If they do, they'd be Buddhist. And Russia got everything. They got Islam, they got the Russian Orthodox Church with their idols. They probably have other religions there as well. It says the vengeance of the Lord. That makes me think it could be happening on the day of vengeance. Maybe not. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done, do unto her. Cut off the sower from Babylon. That's the one that plants the seeds. And him that handleth the sickle, those that do the harvesting. In the time of that handles the sickle in the time of harvest, the harvesting. For fear of the oppressing sword. Now let's break this down. Okay, it doesn't say for, it says from the face, panim. So it's saying from face of oppressing, let's check that word. Yeah, we can go with oppress. Oppress sword, which is chara, which is sword. So they're saying fear, but it's really saying from the face of the oppressing sword. In other words, what they're looking at is scaring them, okay? They shall turn, let's check the words. This is Puna. It's the same face thing. They shall face. Yeah, they shall look towards. Maybe you could say in English. See, Hebrew doesn't go into English that well. It's actually the word for face. Everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own ha'eretz, to his own land. So it's saying they're going to go back to their own country. These are the ones that, like the agricultural workers, the sowers and the harvesters that come in to make money. They're not really America. Their families don't live in America and stuff like that. A lot of come from Mexico and other countries. They go back to where they came from. Their own country. They get out. Because they're not really Americans. They're not voting there. They're not benefiting from, all the things America benefits from. So they're just going back. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. From where? From Israel. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, hath broken his bones. Well, this would make me think the President of the United States he's referring to as a Nebuchadnezzar. Is that Biden or Trump? It's going to be hard for us to focus that. There's a 1 month period of time that I don't know yet. Maybe we'll get a clue. Pray we'll get a clue. I don't know. I can cut it both ways right now. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the God of Israel. Who's he? The God of Israel. So who's he fighting for? Israel. It says Elohim Yisrael. Behold, I will punish the king of Babel. That's Melech Babel, king of Babel. So that means the president. And his land, that means the whole United States, as I have punished the king of Assyria. And I will bring Israel again to his habitation. So now he's saying Israel, meaning the 10 tribes that are around the world, are going to his habitation, which is Israel, the land, ha'eretz. And he shall feed on Carmel, that's near Haifa, and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead. In those days and in that time, saith Jehovah, the lawlessness of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none, and the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I reserve. What is this reserve word up to here? Sha'ar. Not exactly what they're telling you. Those that remain or left around there. Okay? Those that remain. Probably a lot of them are not going to remain because they'll get cut off. Okay, so it's not that far what they're saying, but it's not so spot on either, but it's not so deviant. Right here, anyway, in these last two verses. So, yeah, when he pours his spirit out on the people, they're forgiven. This is redemption. When they see the sign of the Son of Man, or their sins are washed away. See, he blinded their eyes and stopped up their ears so they wouldn't turn to him and be saved until the 2,000-year punishment in Hosea 6:1 and 2 is complete. It says 2 days. Well, their punishment was not 48 hours. It's 1,000 years is like a day unto the Lord. It's time up. So he just, you know, like that. I gotta get a good snap. He just like that. That's it. The sins are gone. They saw they got the Spirit poured out on them. They saw the sign of Yeshua. They get everlasting life. They're mourning because they want to serve God. They're going to come to Israel. It's over. In the blink of an eye, basically. But they don't have a body that can't die. It can still die. My people's days shall be like that of a tree. A tree dies, but it can live thousands of years. The child shall die 100. That's referencing this. In New Jerusalem, there is no death. It says so in Revelation 20:21. Because we drink of the water of life and eat of the tree of life. When God ran them out of the Garden of Eden, he said, lest they eat of the tree of life and live forever, and be like us. So there you have it. New Jerusalem is most likely the Garden of Eden. It has the river. It has the tree of life. Okay? Just like the Garden of Eden did. But Yeshua said, I go and I'll build a place for you. So he built these, many buildings with houses and things like that, or apartments or mansions. The word is used for us. When Adam and Eve were there, they didn't have that. There was nobody to build it for yet. For I will pardon them whom I will reserve. It means who's left. Go up against the land of Merathaim. Again, the unclean spirit imaging from the old Babylon, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod, same thing as Merathaim. Waste, and I think these were places in the old Babylon, possibly Merathaim and Pekod. Waste and utterly destroy after them, saith Jehovah, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. A sound of battle is in the land, and great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Well, that's America. They're telling China what to do, North Korea what to do, Taiwan, Japan, Philippines, Guam. They're telling NATO what to do. They're telling the Middle East what to do. It's America. And hammer is cut asunder and broken. How is Babylon become a desolation among the Goyim, amongst the heathen? I have laid a snare for thee. There it is. See, the Biden Obama think they're going to bring these people in and they were going to change America. And their idea was probably to get the invasion and knock out the military, as evidenced by the drone incidents that are continuing and nobody's stopping it. And then they would run America, and then it would be forcibly put into a Sharia law state. And they know that millions and millions of people would say, what the heck, let's convert. And other people would wind up as slaves to the conquerors, and there would be a lot of head cutting and torture and hajibs and all this stuff going on. It's not going to happen, but that was their plan. But as you're going to see, the place gets destroyed, so they do get to loot it, but the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. They'll eventually come to attack Israel, and Zechariah 12 follows this, I believe, and I'll talk more about that as we progress. And let's keep going. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken. Well, taken, 39:20. That's not exactly. Let's check the meaning of this. Caught in a net. So I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also snared. Okay? There's a much better way of putting it. O Babel, and thou wast not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. The word for caught And Tafet. It's sort of a right, I think. Captured. Caught, captured. Same-ish, you know. So they were thinking they were going to conduct this, overthrow and change America. And the overthrow is they're going to surrender to him, but they're going to take it to another level and kill him. Jehovah hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, his anger. Now, the weapons of his indignation are not missiles and bullets, it's the fire that you're going to read about and the floods that you're going to read about. For this is the work of Adonai Jehovah of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border. Let's check this. Extremity. From extremity. It says, come against her. Come is bow, means come. Against her from the utmost border. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 words to replace 2. It says, come from extremity. Okay? So the King James is really one of those storybook Bibles in reality, isn't it? It is. Come against her from the utmost border, from the, extreme end of it. Open her storehouses. Now, what is a storehouse? Well, it's mebos or mebas. It's really like a silo for grain. Yeah. Cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly, let nothing of her be left. Slay all her bullocks. Now, those are bulls. I don't think they're going around killing the livestock. I think it's who are the bulls? The federal agents, the police, the state police. These are the people that torment the population. Open her storehouse, cast up her heaps, and destroy her utterly, nothing of her be left. Slay her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land. That's you all. The voice. Does that really mean voice? It could. Call, voice, yeah. Of them that flee. That's 4 words. And it's taking the place of 1 word. Niece, flee, or escape. So voice, flee, and then it says, and escape. And that word for escape is payat. A refuge or a fugitive. They sort of got it okay. Out of the land of Babel to declare in Zion. So how they can declare it in Zion unless they go there? How could this be happening in Israel if they're going to Israel? You see how stupid it is when they say Israel's the daughter of Babylon. It's asinine. No offense to the asses, the mules. They're actually nice critters. That flee and escape out of the land of Babel to declare in Zion, in Sion is what it is. Sion. Declare in Sion the vengeance of Jehovah Elohim, the vengeance of his temple. Now, this is a lot. So they're there. These believers that are redeemed are there to see what happened to America. If they get out before it happened, they're going to be on ships of Tarshish and stuff. They're not going to have the report to give to the people in Israel, are they? And if they're giving the report to the people in Israel, I don't think the people in Israel were watching it on the internet, do you? Or on CNN or cable TV? No. I don't get that impression, do you? I don't know where it would be founded on. How can you build on that? I don't think you can. To declare, now maybe the people in America did see something on TV or the internet and they're just declaring it anyway. Let's look at the word declare. Neged. Stand boldly, it may not mean this. Let's see. No, to declare boldly. No, they had to be mentioning it or speaking it boldly. Now it says the vengeance of his temple. Now this could go one of two ways. Malachi 3 says we'll have this temple. Another part we're going to cover today says that the people in Israel are confounded because strangers are in the temple. We'll get to this, but a good theory is this is a throwback to the old temple that the Babylonians burned, okay? And took the temple artifacts back to Babylon, which did get returned to Israel. And they were really insulting to Jehovah. And it's the same unclean spirits that are running America that run Babylon. So that could mean it. You have to be careful with this, though. Let's see it again in a few more verses and see, we'll readdress this, okay? Call together the archers against Babel, all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about. That's a siege. Very similar wording as to what's going to happen to Israel. A siege. Now, we don't see an invasion in Zechariah 12 of them going into the temple. So that's 2 points for this meaning vengeance for the old temple, the Babylon. It would be Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple, the first temple. Call to get Zerubbabel's temple didn't get destroyed the same way, and Herod's temple got destroyed by the Romans themselves. Babylon, all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Well, what's the word for camp? It's an interesting word here. Yeah, like make a tent against it, camp against it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A siege. This is a siege against it roundabout. So maybe the siege in Israel happened already. And this is the payback. I can't give you every little detail perfectly correct. It's a thought. I can't say for sure I got it down on the siege of Israel happening first. I don't think so at all. So I don't want to build on that one, no. There of escape recompense her according, that's year of recompenses, recompense, I would think, a clue, according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her, for she hath been proud against Jehovah, against the Holy One of Israel, Kadosh Yisrael, the Holy of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off. That means everybody in the military is gone. That's exactly what it means. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it means. All her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Jehovah. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord. For saith Adonai. No, it doesn't say El. Wait. Adonai. Okay, it says Adonai Jehovah of hosts or armies. For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. So it's a day. The word for day is yom, correct for day. Not Shana, not the year, not the month. It's a day. And the most proud shall stumble and fall. The most proud are the Satan bots, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all around about him. So, as you see, God's going to kindle fires in and around the cities in America. That's going to be a lot of fires. Is it going to come from him bringing fire down, or will it come from an enemy like with balloons causing fires or drones causing fires? Or both? You got me. I'm not sure on this one. But I think it's fires coming from Jehovah. Pretty sure, because that's his weapons. He doesn't use man's weapons. They're not of him. So yes, it's probably him sending fires down. So if the people, the sleeper agents, wanted to stay, conquer America and run it, okay, they couldn't, because he burns it up. And then what does he do? As you'll see, after he burns it up, the waves wash over America. And of course, that puts the fires out. And then animals live in the houses. It becomes a habitation for beasts, not people, but beasts of various kinds that he names. For the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. So, about him, the word him is not in the text. So, devour means burn up. All is the word for call, which means all. And then the roundabout word. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it means. Now I'm in Jeremiah 50, verse 33. Thus saith Jehovah of armies, or hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives, that would be in the past, held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer, now, their Redeemer, this makes me think about year of redemption. Remember, the day of vengeance is in the year of redemption at the end of it. And the year of recompenses at the end and at the start of the year of redemption. So it's in both. The day of vengeance is in both those years. It's the same overlap. I see it, I could be off by some days, but I see it as the last day of the year of recompenses is the day of vengeance, which is also the beginning of the year of redemption, which is the appearing of the Son of Man in the clouds, seated on the right hand of power, which is Father God Jehovah. Because Psalm 110:1, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool. And when Yeshua appears, his enemies are not his footstool yet, so he's still seated at the right hand of God, the Father Jehovah. Now he's talking about here, thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah, that's all 12 tribes, were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast and refused to let them go. This explains Jeremiah 30, verse 11, and Jeremiah 46, verse 28, where God says he will destroy all the nations that he scattered the Israelites into over the centuries. See how you got to put all this together, which the church never teaches any of this stuff. Their Redeemer is strong. Again, a hint to year of redemption. Jehovah of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead. It doesn't say plead. The word means judge. Okay? Unless it's, wait. Rube. No, it's not judge. Toss or grapple. It's not plead. They like to tell you that. Like, oh, come, serve me, do things my way, please, my people. No. He shall, it says, he shall thoroughly plead. 4 words. It says toss. Toss. Oh, wait, we got another word here. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Plead. Strive. It seems to have a similar word twice, the same word, rube. Oh, it's the Lord is tossing, the Lord's making our cause, Israel's cause. In other words, he's operating in the benefit of Israel here. It's also the word for strife or controversy. Their controversy that he may give rest to the land, Tyeres, that's Israel, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. So he's fighting. The day, Isaiah 34:8, the day of the day of vengeance is the year of recompenses over the controversy of Zion, over the fighting over Zion. I believe that would be the same word. I could check. We caught him. The same word. Controversy here. Yeah. We got him. Okay. Back to Jeremiah 50, verse 34. Their Redeemer is strong. Gaal is the word for Redeemer. Is strong. Jehovah of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly toss or fight their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babel. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Jehovah, and upon the inhabitants of Babel, and upon the princes and upon their wives. Those are your corporate heads, your big entertainers, your government, and stuff like that. A sword is upon the liars. Well, that's them. They shall dote. That means they'll be bewildered, maybe, something like that. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people. That's America, the melting pot, that are in the midst of her. They shall become as women. A sword. So women should not be in the military, nor should they be police. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. Oh, there's a lot of treasures in America. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is the land of graven images. So there'll be a drought on the waters there, which I don't think we've seen yet. The land of graven images, I've covered that with you lots of times. And they are mad upon their idols. Well, they really are. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever. And that would mean by people. Shall it be, and neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. This is a forever. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, well, there was a lot of fire and brimstone there, wasn't there? And he says, I will kindle fires in and about our cities. That was sort of what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, so he might rain fire and brimstone down. I would sort of expect it. And the neighbor cities thereof, saith Jehovah. Now, people are going to say, what about Canada? What about Canada? Well, if you're a believer, you're definitely going to come on the Exodus, okay? If you're an Israelite, ditto, you'll come on the Exodus. Is Canada going to suffer the same wrath as America? I don't think so. It's a separate country. But it's the surrounding lands like Sodom and Gomorrah, so maybe it is. I don't have anything distinctly conclusive in the scriptures one way or the other, but I can say the true believers are going to get out, as will the Israelites, okay? That is the only thing I could say that with any great certainty. Could Canada still be left standing after this? Yes. And the neighbor cities thereof, saith Jehovah, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man. Behold, a people shall come from the north. Again, I believe this is from north of Israel. And a great nation, and it's saying Gadol Goyim, great heathens, and many kings shall be raised up from the beasts, from the coasts of the earth. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. That sounds like the Muslim terrorists to me. Their voice, now you could also say the North Koreans and the Chinese may be that way, but I don't think quite as much at all. And why would they break the idols? I don't see that. I see it with Islam. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one in array, like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon hath heard the report of them, and his hands were wax feeble. He's shaking. His hands wax feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. We read that in Jeremiah 30, up around verse 5 or 6 or something like that. Behold, that's the birth pangs where the birth of Israel comes in a day, which is when Yeshua appears in the clouds. And that's the same day, the day of vengeance, and that's why they're also clutching their guts. I think it's the same day, the day of vengeance, and that's why they're clutching their guts also, but in a very bad way. Behold, they're not giving birth to anything. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of the Jordan unto the habitation of the strong. But I will make him suddenly run away from her. And who is a chosen man that may appoint over her? For who is like me? Well, he shall come up like a lion. Okay, so like a lion doesn't lend itself. It's a lion from swelling of Jordan unto the habitation of the strong, but he maketh thee suddenly. It could be American troops, it could just be an allegory. Will make them suddenly run away from her. That sounds like American troops in Israel by the Jordan. It could be that run away, they get scared. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like unto me, and who will appoint me the time? And who is he that shepherd that will stand before me? Who will appoint me the time, and who is that shepherd that will stand before me? He's either speaking about Yeshua or Elijah or Apostle John, or all of them. Therefore, hear you the counsel. I think he's maybe more focused on Elijah or Apostle John here. Remember, let each produce after their own kind. These two, Apostle John and Elijah, are sons of God up in heaven. But let everything produce after its own kind. God would more than likely follow that too, so they're also gods, referred to as Elohim, which is the plural. There's only one Jehovah. There's only one Yeshua, but Yeshua and the other sons of God are all referred to as Elohim. Therefore, and I think the glory of God of Israel is also referred to as Elohim too, which is the angel that God put his name Jehovah in. That's found in Exodus chapter 20, verse 23. Therefore, hear you the counsel of Jehovah that he hath taken against Babel, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babel, the earth is moved. The noise of the taking of Babel. The word for taking is seize, capture. The earth, that's Haaretz, the land is moved, and the cry is heard among the heathens. All right, let me check the chat. We'll go to Jeremiah 51. Well, I explained it's not the daughter of Iraq, it's the daughter of the same unclean spirits that ran the old Babylon. Ireland, oh, great, great. All right, had a little bit of garbage to throw out. Not a lot. You can put questions up in there. It's rather hard doing 50 and 51 together. It's a lot of work. So pray I get the strength, stamina, and endurance to get through 51. I'm going to step out for a minute and come right back, and then we'll go forward with 51. And I'll have a summary of what we could deduce from this. Basically, it's soon, and I would say the drones are a big part of what we're seeing. We'll get into that a little more. When some of you guys serve tossed salad on the people that post the nasty remarks, get them and everyone that lives in the same house as them. That will expand what happens. Scare them, in other words. Okay. Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will raise up against Babel, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, that's America, a destroying wind. The word for wind could be spirit. And will send unto Babylon. So it could be a destroying spirit. Okay? Now, let's work on that. Oh, Biden's destroying the place with the open board. So it could be an unclean spirit that he's worshiping that's having him destroy the place. And I said, oh, Biden. And will send unto Babel fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land in the day of trouble. That means they're going to get the wealth and riches out of there. The day of trouble is the evil day, which would be the day of vengeance, I guess. Well, that doesn't happen on the day of vengeance. It would precede it, I guess. They shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, his war garb. And spare you not, young men. Destroy her utterly, her host, her armies, they all go. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. The thrust through means pierce. The bullet pierces you. So does a sword. For Israel shall not be, so does a bayonet too. Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God. From God, I guess, maybe better, but Judah from God, Adonai Yehovah of armies. So he's saying, Father God Jehovah didn't get rid of them, forget about them. Their punishment took place for 2,000 years, it's over. Though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel, because of the punishment, he blocked up their ears and closed their eyes. Flee, that word for flee is nis. It's like an escape word. Vanish away. Escape, vanish away, get the heck out of town, get out of Dodge. Flee out of the midst of Babel, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her lawlessness, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, day of vengeance. Or maybe just the visitation on Babylon could be different. It could happen before the day of vengeance. It's not going to, I don't believe it'll happen after the day of vengeance. It could be before. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. So that would make me think it's in the year of recompenses, which could be the last day, which is the beginning of redemption, and but this could come before the nations get it out. It's very hard to put every little fine piece together. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. The cup of the wrath of the Lord, the gold would mean money is a big factor in it. That made all the earth, all the land, drunken. The heathen have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Halal. It means proud and boastful more than mad. They think they got it knocked, you know. Babel is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, every one unto his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up to the skies. So Babylon is suddenly fallen. That's probably in an hour and a day in Revelation 17, really Revelation 18, when DC apparently gets hit. That's when the people are going to run out of the sowers and the harvesters. You know, these kind of people are going to run out of America and go back to their own country. That might be the cue for the believers and the Israelites to leave, but again, it may not. It's going to take them a little time to get out. I mean, you know, I would think. We would have healed Babel, she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, every one to his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Now this would be before he destroys all the nations that he sent the Israelites into, which is probably 125 nations. Otherwise, these people are going to go back to nations that are not there, which doesn't make sense. You understand? Jehovah hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Jehovah Elohim. Our righteousness, come and let us declare in Zion. So they're coming to Israel. The work of Jehovah Elohim. This could be right after the daughter of Babylon, Washington, D.C. gets hit, that they come. See, it's so hard to get every little detail because the prophecy doesn't always give us every little detail. But it looks like we get a lot of detail. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Jehovah hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his, that's the Median Empire, Median Empire, for his device is against Babel to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Jehovah, the vengeance of his temple. There it is, the vengeance of the temple again. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Now, what is a standard? A signal, it could be a flag they put up, I don't know. Upon the walls of Babylon, it's something they put up a pole or something. Let me check this deeper, hold on. What the heck does it mean? Oh, a flag. It could be putting a flagstaff up to signal the other military about something by what flag they put up or something like that. Upon the walls of Babel, does it really say the walls? I think so. I would say it means walls. Make the watch strong. Well, the watch is strong now because of the drones. Got it? The watch is strong now because of the drones. The watch is strong by the border because Mexico, because a lot of people are, civilian militia types watching. Okay, especially in Texas and other places. The watch is strong in a lot of areas. Now Canada's starting to make their watch strong but that's in Canada, not in America. Okay. The watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes. Okay, what is a watchman? Shamar, like a private security guard is a watchman, for instance, a security guard. Prepare the ambushes, to lie in wait, to lurk. Okay. Um, to wait. It's like a waiting ambush. That's what they're doing now with the drones, I would say. They're waiting and laying for them, and then they're going to try to take them down eventually. Maybe not, maybe yes, but they're watching. Prepare the ambushes, for Jehovah hath both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, the Pacific, Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, the Great Lakes, about 8,000 rivers in America and about that many lakes. Abundant in treasures, extremely wealthy country, but just most of the people don't have the wealth. The wealth is heavily concentrated in 5% of the people, or maybe 2%. Thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness, they can't get enough. Jehovah of armies hath, Jehovah of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars. Those are your millions of sleeper agents, illegals. And they shall lift up a shout against thee. Okay. He hath made the earth by his power, he hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heaven, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. So that CERN doesn't control these things, God does. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. That's what happens to them. The word for perish is abad. Could mean perish, vanish, destroy. The portion of Jacob, that's the 12 tribes, is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The rod doesn't mean rod, they twisted this on purpose. Branch, branch, branch. Did I say branch? Okay, the branch of his inheritance. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? The Lord of hosts, grafted in, branch, right? Okay. And Jehovah of armies or hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. This is Israel. We'll be fighting. For with thee will I break in peace. After we got the everlasting life, I will break in pieces the nations, the heathen, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horses and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee. Now, we've seen people of all these descriptions operate in Israel as terrorists killing civilians. Okay. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babel and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Now, I've told you this many times. October 7th, Biden didn't want Netanyahu coming to see him. And then sometime around mid-September 2023, he says, oh, Biden could come here anytime. On the 23rd of September, Netanyahu could come here anytime. 23rd of September, Netanyahu goes to see Biden. And Israel was told, and I think America even told them, other countries told us that the October 7th thing was in the making, to be concerned. And they let October 7th happen. The guard was down, and they were warned, and the guard was down. And Netanyahu never started an independent investigation like the Supreme Court told them. So, America, Biden, and Netanyahu worked this thing out. So it's on Biden because he's playing us as a proxy. So he's taking God's people and using them as a proxy for Satan's people. And not everybody in America is Satan's people, but the government is dedicated to the unclean spirits. I will break in pieces captains and rulers, and I will render unto Babel and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Because they don't care what America did. The Americans don't care what America does to Israel. They have no fear of the Lord, and that's enough to get them on the wrong side of things. It's written, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Jehovah, which destroyeth all the earth, all the land, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but they shall be desolate forever, saith Jehovah. Set you up a standard in the land, a sign of some sort, a flag or something. Blow the trumpet among the nations, the heathen nations. Prepare the heathens against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Arat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Now, these are allies of Russia now. I gotta fix it. Running out of battery. These are allies of Russia now in what's called the Stan countries, okay? I gotta plug us back in here because the battery was running down, and let me get it balanced. Okay, we should be good. All right. Call together against her the kingdoms of Arat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. These are the Stan countries that are allies with Russia, but I don't see Russia here. So maybe Russia's gone already. Maybe not. Maybe. And appoint the captain against us. So they'll be ahead of this. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the heathens with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, upon the land of his dominion. You see, the whole Arab League may be turning against the daughter of Babylon. Okay? All 56 of them, whatever there are, they may all be turning. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babel, to make the land of Babel a desolation without an inhabitant. Maybe America and NATO do hit Egypt, hit Russia, and then they hit Iran and Iraq and Yemen, and it's very, very likely in the coming days. The mighty men of Babel have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might hath failed. They become as women. They have burned her dwelling places. So they have burned. It just says burned. Let's check. Sure, what? Kindled. They set on fire. Set on fire dwelling places. Her bars are broken. So I think this is the enemy doing it, which is what they did on October 7th when they pushed through Gaza. They were burning the houses. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babel that his city is taken at one end, and that the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are affrighted. They're scared. For thus saith Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babel is like a threshing floor. It's time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. So she does have her own harvest. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel, hath devoured me. Now, this is the old Nebuchadnezzar, I imagine, that he's talking about. So maybe the throwback with the temple is really a throwback to Nebuchadnezzar, hath devoured me. He hath crushed me, he hath made me an empty vessel, he hath swallowed me up like a dragon, he hath filled his belly with my delicacies, he hath cast me out. He's speaking of what they did to the temple, and burning it, and taking the artifacts out, and all this stuff. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babel, shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea shall Jerusalem say. Well, it may get out more openly what happened on October 7th in America's involvement. There and pushing us as a proxy, it could get out. Elijah could teach it, for instance. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee. It's not plead, it's like judge, and take vengeance for thee. And I will, because, we don't seek vengeance, he does. And take vengeance for thee, and I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. So another way to keep the invaders from living in America and creating a Muslim United States of tyranny is the fires, and there's no water, and then the waves wash over it. So the land is going to lay waste. They're not going to move into the mansions and the nice houses in the cities and use the people as slaves and perpetuate this thing. No, it's finishing. And Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for dragons, an astonishment and a hissing without an inhabitant. They shall roar together like lions. They shall yell as lions' yelps. So, do we ever see the invaders leaving before the floods and the fires? No. Maybe they get killed there too after they kill the people. I don't know. It says they'll spoil them and be satisfied, so they could be walking around with 10 gold watches in their pockets and wearing big rubies and sapphires, but they still may not get out. It's a thought, isn't it? In their heat will I make their feasts, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, says the Lord. Maybe they're celebrating something, and they're having parties, and they get bombed and lustful. Maybe that's when it happens. Maybe they're celebrating they knocked off Iran or Russia or something. I don't know. It's a thought, right? And I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with the he goats. They're not going to know what's happening until it starts happening. How is Sheshach taken, and how is the praise of, that's another name for Babylon, and how is the praise of the whole earth surprised? How is Babel become an astonishment among the nations? The sea is come up upon Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of the waves thereof. So I don't know where we see the invaders left. Maybe they got drowned. I don't know. Her cities, I guess the waves put out the fires, so the animals could be there. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land, wilderness, and a wilderness, a land wherein no man dwelleth, neither doth any son of man pass thereby. And I will punish Bel in Babel, and I will bring forth out of her mouth that which he hath swallowed up. And the nations shall not flow together any more unto him. Yea, the wall of Babel shall fall. My people, go you out of the midst of her, and deliver you every man his soul from the fierce anger of Jehovah. And lest your hearts faint, and you fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that another year. Shall come a rumor and violence in the land. Well, there was lots of mass shootings in the last week, right? Ruler against ruler. Have we really seen that? Is this Trump and Biden? Not a good match yet. Not sure we're seeing the ruler against ruler yet. Just not really seeing it. Now I'm in Jeremiah 51:47. Therefore, behold, the days come, and I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babel, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Will do judgment on the graven images is probably the invaders smashing them. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babel, for The spoilers shall come unto her from the north, saith Jehovah. As Babel hath caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babel shall fall the slain of all the earth. This could be the throwback to October 7th. It could be the throwback to 1948 and 73 and 67 and all of this. America is probably involved. You that have escaped the sword, go away and stand not still. See, escape the sword means you're going to be there for at least some of this, right? Go away, stand not still. Remember Jehovah afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded because we have heard reproach, shame hath covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. This sounds like it happens now, doesn't it? It does. So this is after the temple comes down in Malachi 3 that they do this. The temple is not New Jerusalem. Revelation 21 says there's no temple in New Jerusalem. So we are confounded because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces. So why would the shame cover their faces now in this time if it was from the past? Something happens with this. Strangers are come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. Doesn't mean they're doing much in there, but they come in. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that I will do judgment upon their graven images, and through all her land. Judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babel should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her though Babel should mount up to heaven, and though she shall fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Jehovah. That's looters. A sound of a cry cometh from Babel, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because Jehovah hath spoiled Babel, and destroyed out of her the great voice. When her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered, because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babel, and her mighty men are taken, every one of their bows broken. For Jehovah Elohim of recompenses shall bows are broken, the Lord of recompenses, year of recompenses, shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes, and her wise men, her captains, and her rulers, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep. They may be so freaked out they just start hitting the booze. These people live on booze. They love booze. And not wake, saith the king, that's Hamelech the king, whose name is Jehovah of armies. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts. Now, Yeshua may be the king of Israel, and he is, but I guess Jehovah is the king of heaven, earth, and the whole universe. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, the broad walls, that could be the long walls too, of Babel shall be utterly broken. That's the walls between Mexico and the U.S., and that could cause a massive influx of bad people. And her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire they shall be weary. Labor in vain is working hard to fix their houses and their cars and all that. It's all going to be burned up, including them. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Syria, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, really, when he went with Zedekiah, the king of Judah, to Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. And this Syria was a quiet prince, but Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come upon Babel, even all these words that are written against Babel. And Jeremiah said to Syria, when thou comest to Babel and shall see and shall read all these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast stricken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain, that neither man nor beast O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, and none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. And shall be when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary, thus saith the words of Jeremiah. Well, they're getting weary in America, aren't they? The drones are making people weary, that's for sure. Let me check the live stream, see if I got questions or anything I need to do here. No, I think I'm good. Do I have, let me check my notes again. No, I'm good. Okay, so that's a complicated discourse on it. And we're never going to get 100% certainty on the little details, but we get plenty of certainty on a lot of things. And I think drones are pushing us into a new chapter. Well, not a new chapter, a new phase where they're putting out all the watchmen and watching and stuff like that. Civilians are watching, military, police are watching, probably fire is watching, governors are watching, mayors are watching. I think that we're in that phase now. So that's what I got for today. Like I said, Jeremiah 50:51 knocks me out. It's a lot of scriptures. All right, so please pray for me and my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, healing, Pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues to be happy, healthy, and whole. Keep the prayers coming for Chief. I'm seeing more improvements. He's walking fast and scooting around. So please keep the prayers coming. Keep the prayers coming from my wife too. And my neck. Now my jaw's getting better, but now my neck went out. I think I fell asleep with my neck at an angle or something. Pray for better Bible studies, better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And pray we get more insights and to find details on this. But it looks like it's extremely close now. Very close. And that's a good thing. The heavens will rejoice when it happens, and you'll be coming to your redemption, everlasting life, come in Israel. It'll be wonderful. It'll be great. And we'll have the land, which is much bigger than what we have now, and welcome all of us. Okay, wow, I came up to 3 hours. No wonder it knocked me out. All right, so I'm gonna get off because, like I say, that knocks me out. I started about 5:30 this morning, and it's a lot of work. So I'm gonna be shot for the rest of the day. But I will update Telegram, so you might want to check that. If you don't know about the Telegram, send me an email. I don't want to post it up here. Send me. I have several Telegram sites. Send me an email to israelgiving with the number 7 at gmail.com. I put offering information and my email up at the top of the chat, and I also have it in the description box, which should be under the video. So I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. Thanks.